Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another exciting installment of Living World of Darkness Rage Across New York. Now, where we find ourselves in the sept of the green, Shinlo is basically taking a break, having a little bit of tea, and he is going to be visiting Shrine of Chimera, and he basically is giving offerings to it. A whole bunch of stargazers is behind them, and they're basically very deep to it. And they're basically that's where we're going to begin our scene is with Shinlo and the stargazers just bowing down to the shrine, basically deep prayer.
And yeah, coincidence do happen because after Tlate was, uh, had spoken to Jacob, she was on her way to the heart of the cairn. And when she goes there, she will see Shinlo and a lot of kin. Um, and she will not approach because kin are, well, she still lives with the principle that kin need to be protected, especially against metis. So she does not go near kin. So as she sees that they're being very busy there, she'll walk over to the shrine of Great White Mouse and just kind of starts cleaning it up a little bit, making sure that everything is nice and in place, and will take the time to lay down some offerings there as well. But yeah, as said, we'll stay out of the way of any kind of kin that are there.
So after the prayer, basically it takes about like another 20 minutes. After the prayer, they all get up and basically they're talking to Shinlo and, basically talking to him, and he's bowing to them, each and every one of them, and they go off in basically a different direction. You just hear Shinlo be like, "I'll join you all for a morning katas," and basically just leave. And when he sees Talate, he's just gonna wave at her.
She'll nod respectfully to him and make sure she has everything finished at the shrine of Great White Mouse before she would walk into his direction. Oh, and actually, as she does, Shinlo can see, like, especially on her arms, because the rest of her body parts are covered by clothing. He can see on, like, her lower arms, he can see very deep cuts of some probably symbolic marks that are there.
Shinlo will make mental note of that, and then he will bow.
Good day, Shinlo. How are you doing?
I am doing very, 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 very well. Um, just enjoying the day, make sure I pay my respects to Chimera.
Yes, that is something that I think I should do as well. I have met with one of its spirits today.
Yes, yes. hmm. Would you mind joining me for tea?
Um, is there a special occasion for it?
I was just hoping we have a discussion
Of course, if you wish to talk, that is fine. Yeah.
of course. And basically, he will basically look in the bushes and take out a tea set like he was ready for this, and he will basically pour some tea for both of them, and he will pull out some mats too, like he was ready for this. and basically we'll put it right there.
She will raise an eyebrow at that, as she does definitely notice that that is a little bit too convenient. Um, she won't make a remark of it, and she will sit down. Little, well, she'll sit down carefully, avoiding any kind of wounds that are hurt, and she will keep her face like placid, not flinching or anything. And we'll wait for Shinlo to start off the conversation that he clearly wasn't planning ahead or anything.
And he will pour the tea. So, you heard about my Falston challenge, right? By Banshee.
I have heard of it indeed, yes. I hope that you will succeed.
I hope so too. But in order to do that, I must gather an inquiry, if you may, if you can suffice with that. A quick question.
Of course.
I heard of this, and this will be the first one. I heard of an incident that happened quite some time ago. It was an incident that had to deal with and he looks. It had to deal with a certain house of silver fangs. Do you know anything about it?
Certain House of Silverfangs. I have heard some rumors of it. I've heard Kotori mention them, but I would advise speaking with Jacob when it comes to Silverfangs.
I need to know the story from all perspectives. It seems like you don't know anything about it, which is okay. I will gather my questions elsewhere.
I was not on Sept at that point, no.
Of course. But I do have another one. So, when the attack of the Sept happened, where were you? And the rest of the group, through your perspective, through your eyes.
The attack on the Sept?
Yes. You know, the day when Chimera died for the Sept.
Right. Where was I? I was... When the howl came, I was at my cabin, and we ran to one of the borders of the Sept to defend the Sept there. As per requests of the water, actually.
So the request of the water, right?
He sent us to that direction to guard the Sept borders there, yes.
Okay. And basically, he will take out, a notebook and write a few stuff down. So, during all that, what do you think your job was to do at the time? Since you are the keeper of the land, what do you think your job was to do at the time? Orders. What do you think your job was to do? You felt in your heart as a spirit speaker.
My job as any of the Karoo was to defend the Sept at the place where it was most necessary. No. I figured that, well, I mean, in the end, the water is the one to defend the Sept, to set out.
And the Guardians, don't forget. I mean, all Guru are there to defend the Sept, of course, but the Guardians in the water are the main line of defense. Am I correct on that?
You are, but I wasn't finished yet. What I was trying to say is that the water is the one in charge of the sept when it is under attack
Mm,
and sets out
okay.
the
Okay.
lines of defense and where which Garou would stand. And in this case, as you said, as a spirit speaker and as keeper of the land, yes, I do have specific tasks, but in the end, it is when we are under attack, it is the water who would put us in the most needed position.
Okay. So you are, mind you, you are to say that basically you couldn't be anywhere near the shrines or anything, defended them just in case someone tried to push through. So, or was that convenience that got in the way?
As far as I could see, when we passed the heart of the cairn, there were Garou there present.
Hmm.
Would I have liked to be there as the new keeper of the lands and as a theurge? Yes, the shrines are my responsibility. But in the end, I am a Garou and we all fight and we all try to defend the sept as well as we can.
Okay. So they managed to push near the heart, right?
Yes,
Okay.
we were
All
there
right.
just too late.
All right.
I,
So two. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. Keep going.
no, please ask your questions.
I'm just saying that basically you got there late. The guru that were present wasn't strong enough to repel them to not get past that point.
From what I could see, there was a lot of fighting going on, and the spirits, the totem spirits of the sept were fighting as well. And as we arrived, we saw one of the, uh, well, one of the worm creatures set balefire on to Chimera. I tried to push out the fires. I got burned for jumping into it, but it was too late.
Ah, interesting, interesting. So just say that. So I is that the so basically the how can I word this? The water placed you in positions. The position that he placed you in, you all still got repelled back, right?
I got
You
what?
still was getting pushed back.
We defeated the enemies on our border. There was nothing there anymore. That's why we headed back into the into the sept to help
Mhm.
out with the fighting that was still continuing.
Ah, ah. So they was able to get. So they was not only was they able to get on the bound, they was able to get into the set.
Well, the heart of the cairn is the heart of the cairn. That's where it happened.
Interesting. Don't worry, I was at the fighting too. So with that being said and done, um, you so with all this said and done, with all this talk of great badassery, at the end of the day, penetrated our defenses. The set and the excuse me for I'm about to say, and a totem had to come out and fight. Happen.
I am not sure why the totems were out there. I presume that they were summoned by Mother Larissa to help it defend the sept, as it is part
Hmm.
of their task, but I am not sure.
Oh, I mean, part of our task of being guru is to also help the spirits, and also when it comes down to it, be strong enough to defend the set when needed.
a part of our job is to win a war,
Hmm.
but we have not won
Interesting.
it yet. Seps have fallen. Many good
I
Guru have
mean,
died.
obviously, if they was able to penetrate into our stuff, we almost lost that day.
We did. We did almost lose that day, and we lost a terrible. It was terrible what we lost, and I wish there was a way that we could turn that back.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda, woulda.
There's no. Yes, indeed.
So, could you, in your opinion, mark that down as basically a failure?
Yes and no.
You see, right there, right there. There's no yes and no. If they was able to do all that, if they had more with them,
If they had, then it would have ended in a failure. But they did not. We managed to push them out, but it came at a price.
and you see, winning when real winning is done, you don't take the price. Almost don't cut the cake.
I disagree on that.
That's state your case. Why you disagree with it?
I think everywhere we fight, there is always a price to pay. And if it's not in lives, then it is in something else. We are, well, the way I see it, as a theurge, we always pay a price. When we make a deal with the spirit, we pay a price. Everything we do comes at a cost. I sit here and answer your questions. It comes at a cost. It comes at the cost that I am right now not working on a shrine, not cleaning
Mm.
the steps, not making deals
Right?
that might be necessary in the future. There's always a price to pay. You just don't always know that you're paying it.
Interesting. Mm. Real interesting. You are a wealth of information.
And sometimes you find out the price that you have to pay after you have to pay it. You didn't realize that that was the price you bargained for.
Yeah, that's true enough. Hmm. So, is there anything? Is there? So, how about you? How about you? You tell me. Is there anything else? Uh, something that may have happened that could have been prevented. Something that you see could have, something that the whole set entirety could have did to prevent something. Be honest. Speak truthfully.
When it comes to this particular example,
So, uh, of something that could have been prevented,
in
age or
general,
something big. Yeah, in the set.
I think there are many things. A good example of what could have been prevented. If you want a personal example, before you came to the sept, there was a very tight situation between the pure tribes on one side and the Geta Fenris and the Fianna on the other side.
Interesting. Interesting.
In that situation, there was a case where the Uktena were very secretive. They left the sept, and the kinfolk, even their kinfolk, decided not to speak of it. The other kin, the other Garu, they were a little upset over that. And they, at some point, a kinfolk of the Fianna decided to question a kinfolk of the Uktena.
Mm.
And the way he questioned, well, the conversation I am not sure of, but it came to the point where this Fianna was so frustrated that he had his first change there and then. And, well, kinfolk did not have a chance, was ripped to pieces. The situation was very tense. And when we found out what had happened, me and my sister were very upset. My sister almost frenzied, and I sent her out to cool down. I managed to keep my rage under control, though I had felt it rising, even to the point where I would say that I've had less rage in battle than I had at that point. I decided to vent that rage in a way that was, well, that only tensed the situation even more as I howled out for revenge.
Oh, oh, oh.
The
Oh.
situation, the situation only became worse after that, and it ended in a place where the kinfolk of Fianna and Get, some of the other tribes, kinfolk mixed in between it with torches, came almost came to blows with the kinfolk of the pure tribes who were angered by the death of their brother. It took us a lot of convincing to send them home, and it took a long time before the situation was resolved. And one of my packmates at that time decided to leave my pack over this, as he was a
Mm.
Fianna.
Interesting. Indeed.
When it comes to having been able to prevent that, I have, well, it would have probably helped if a lot of things had not happened. It would have helped if the Uktena would have been a little bit more upfront about what they were dealing with instead of waiting. It would have helped if the Fianna kinfolk had decided to go to the Garu, and it could have been questioned by them instead of trying to take the matter into their own hands. And the situation would not have been as tense as it was if I had not made that cry, if I had not made that howl. Many ways which could have prevented this from actually happening.
uh, oh, that was good. That's a good one. And he would take a sip of his tea and write everything down. Mm. I also got one, another one. Seems like I'm gonna have you here for a minute. Your packmate William White.
Yes.
How did he enter into such a state of wild tainted energy, or tainted or whatever? How did he get there? There had to be a reason. There had to be a motive to the descent, to the wild's madness, to the chaos. I just want to know. There's everything is connected somehow. So you are the alpha. What
I
happened?
I am still not entirely sure at what moment the wild got a hold of him, but I think it happened very early on. There was months ago, there was word in the news that people were being killed and buildings were being destroyed by something in the Bronx. And a group of us tried to investigate, amongst which were myself and William White. We went there and we found a wild spirit that manifested as some sort of tornado that literally destroyed everything, just decomposed everything, anything that would get on his path. Now we decided not to kill it, but instead to capture it and to release it, since it was a wild spirit. So it was then that we went the first time to the Flux realm, which is the wild's, well, basically native realm. We released the spirit there and got back. We got back with a gift, as the Weaver had been taking over into the city and grew stronger and stronger and had attacked the Sept several times. And we had decided to ask the Wild to aid us, and it did with a couple of, well, Talons. I suspect it happened during that trip, but I am not sure. We did not see any changes with William until we released, well, the first of these, uh, well, Talons. It was then that we did notice something, but it wasn't too big yet. And we figured it may have been just the influence of the Talon on him as well, since he had a lot of spirit heritage connected to the Glade children, and they were the ones that were being infected by the Wild as well. And at first, the entire Sept thought it was a welcome change. But as time grew, and the days became weeks and the weeks became months, we noticed that the change did not stop, and it continued, and it unsettled him. It was then that we started to try and talk to him first, but we also had another one on Sept who had a similar thing, but then connected to the Weaver. We took care of him. We helped him by actually taking him into the Flux realm a second time. Will was also there to help us. We helped him get rid of the Weaver, but the Wild at that point wasn't that apparent in Will, although I was worried and I had my suspicions. At first, it seemed like a natural growth of him becoming more, well, familiar with the Garu way, but later on we found that it was not. And by the time we figured what was happening, we, well, were in a situation where the change happened so fast that we had a lot of researching to do before we could actually come up with a proper solution. And of course, once we had the proper solution and we were sure of it, we did go to Erebus. And at that point, he had to go into the river willingly, which was a problem because he did not want to go in there willingly. It was difficult to reach him, but we managed to reach him in the end, and he went in the river out of his own will, in a way.
Hmm. 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 And he started marking some stuff on his notebook, and, scribbling. He mumbles like, "Can't use that. Seems like I can only use so little."
Um, it is around this point where Kailani, attracted by the smell of Shinlo's tea, wanders up and, seeing Shinlo and Latte Hin, she will kneel and ask, "May I join you, or am I intruding on a private affair?"
No, no, sister, you can join us. And he'll pour her a glass.
Thank you, Shinlo. Your tea is always so warm and comforting.
Thank you. I was just asking a few questions. Look, Kalani, you've been an old time member of the SEP, have you?
Yes, I have seen many things here.
Uh, so I want to ask you a question, and I know Lupus of our tribe are always honest and sincere. What was back in the day? What was the greatest failures that you have seen?
Mm. And the greatest failure that I have seen in this sept?
Yes.
It was that of the Arun Shadow Lord, formerly known as Andre Tarakamuti.
No.
We
Detail.
I believe he is one of our greatest failures because we knew there was a problem, but collectively we did very little but leave him to his fate.
So, if you don't mind saying that again, so I can write it down, what was it?
We failed to properly address the many and numerous failings of Andre Tarkamuti, former Andre Tarkamuti, Arun of the Shadow Lord tribe, former Arun of the Shadow tribe, now known as Chicken Shit.
What all did he do?
The first tale that I'm aware of, during a mission to hunt a Bane, a member of his pack, a young red talon Ragabash, smiles in the night. Was grabbed by a Bane. He alerted Travis Bears Witness and the rest of the group hunting. But they saw nothing. Some kind of corrosive gas poured from the ground and the buildings, and it burned them, and stole their vision. And instead of helping his packmates, he retreated and fled, unwilling and unable to help his packmates because of some minor burns and pain.
Interesting. Do you have any more stories of great heroes gone past?
I have a few. I believe them to be great heroes. But
give
they were
me
my
one that's give me one that's struck hard and true to deal with all the safety of the set.
That would be Travis the Unconquered Son. But if this is a tale about failure, Shinlo, there was no failure in this tale. I think perhaps it may be good to hear it now, though. Many, many moons ago, the Sept faced a threat known as the Storm Eater.
He just started laughing.
You have heard this story.
Oh.
Have you
Tell
not?
me more.
It was a threat so great, the entire Sept faced it together. Even the kinfolk. As then we had among us kinfolk who were as able and willing to lay down their bodies and die for Gaia as any guru. The most challenging thing about the Storm Eater was that we had to fight its three aspects. Each group had to do so separately, but it was a mission that all had to be undertaken at the same time.
And what was that?
To destroy the Storm Eater and purify a cairn. My packmate, Travis the Unconquered Son, was tasked with creating a battle plan for each group that fought to ensure our victory and defeat Storm Eater. His plan was well thought out. He spent much time deliberating over aspects of the plan. He ensured everyone in the battle had their job and knew what to do. He ensured that we were prepared before battle. And
Shinlo will raise his hand up. Was there failure in this?
There was no failure in this, but failure was born from it.
Is there one that that sounds like a tale of victory? I understand that failure. What was one of the failures that was born from it?
When this Storm Eater was defeated and this new cairn was purified, two spirits from opposing families were asked to guard it. Wendigo took great offense and came down upon the set.
Yes. Yes.
You know what our tribe says of Wendigo.
Yes. Yes, indeed, I do.
I understand why now. Because it was not, this aspect of Wendigo was so powerful, it was not only our sept that suffered, it was all of the city that felt his coldness and his anger through that coldness. My packmate, Blitzkrieg. He did not take kindly to Wendigo's presence and the suffering he wrought. He did not take kindly to Wendigo's reaction to relationships that had formed among members of our sept. He howled and raged at Wendigo. And ultimately, he was struck down.
I have lots of things to write. So in this story, for his other guru, I mean, asked for help. Was anyone willing to stand by his side as this spirit threatened the sect?
We were willing to stand by his side, in effect, to ensure that whatever amends could be paid to Wendigo to appease the spirit and ensure his departure from our sept. That we were willing to stand by, but his own packmates in the end would not stand by him.
Who was that?
Myself, Travis, the unconquered son.
He's just writing all that down.
I believe Contemplates the Mercy was still a part of the Dreaders of Ice and Concrete then. And I believe Logan Gravis also. I regret that I did not stand by him Shinlo, that is my biggest failure. And Shinlo, I failed to accomplish a task I received in a vision from Chimera.
Shinlo will basically quietly get up, bow at them two, and be like, I'll be right back. Or we'll end our scene. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This installment of Living Worlds of Darkness, Rage Across New York.